This is Today on a Wednesday here on eNCA DSTV channel 403. A very good afternoon. Welcome. My name is William, last name Lahong. We're going to start with the top story at the moment. The Senzo Meyiwa murder trial has been postponed to tomorrow. Now, Judge Mewiya is expected to rule if the next witness can testify without cameras inside the court. Now, she claims broadcasting her testimony will prejudice her career and lifestyle. But lawyers argue she's been tweeting about what happened and even had a sit-down interview right here on eNCA. Moloko Moloto joins us now and is following the story. Moloko, you've been following proceedings. Let's talk about the heated debate that happened between, obviously, the Judge Mewiya just had a lot to say. Can you unpack that for us?
Good afternoon, William Lehong. Yes, the proceedings kicked off at just after 10 o'clock this morning, and immediately the disbarred advocate Malesela Teffo entered the courtroom. And you would understand that according to the South African Legal Practice Council, he is not supposed to be practicing as a lawyer or a legal practitioner, because they say he's been disbarred and they have even taken him to the court. That matter is going to be heard on Monday because they say he is in contempt of court for continuing to practice as a lawyer despite the fact that they say he is disbarred. Now, he entered the courtroom and immediately wanted to address the court, and Judge Mewiya would have none of it because he said, "You are here, as you tell me, on a watch brief. You are not allowed to address me. If there's anything, rather bring it to me in the form of an application." And Teffo persistently wanted to address the court until the court threatened that if he doesn't sit down, because the judge said you are being rude and you are disturbing proceedings and delaying this trial, he then sat down after threats that he would be ejected or kicked out of the court. Maybe let's listen to that particular exchange, because Advocate Teffo was saying he was having a brief by Meyiwa, the brother of the late Senzo Meyiwa, as well as the Orlando Pirates Football Club, the team that Senzo Meyiwa was playing for. Let's listen to that exchange.
I've been told by Advocate Mshololo that yes, you said I should know that you are here as a watching brief. Yes. And I think that does it.
She didn't put it in a correct way, in the right context.
No, please.
I will put it in a correct context.
Mr. Teffo,
as a watching brief,
the other day outside here, we started late because I was explaining to you that these accused persons have paid these representatives who are here to represent them in this case. And whatever time we spend here, it is at their expense. Now, you are watching. That's what you are telling me. I'm asking you to stay put and watch that brief and allow the representatives of the accused to play their roles. Now, it is the opportunity from Advocate Baloyi to address me. Now, what you want to do now is coming in between, and it is disturbing these proceedings. Sit down and watch. I am not saying I'm allowing you to sit down and watch the brief, or I'm disallowing you, but I have been told and I have noted it.
Your Lordship, like I said, let me put it in the right context.
No.
I'm not here to watch, to sit and watch.
You are not going to address me.
I've been given instructions, several instructions by Meyiwa, the brother of the deceased. I've been given the instructions.
You are disturbing court. Please sit down, or I will order that you be taken out. You are disturbing us.
If you feel like that, Your Worship, you can do that. But you must know that you're depriving the right people who are affected by this.
Yeah, yes.
This witness is a witness of the great interest to Meyiwa,
Mr. Mr. Teffo, sit down and allow Advocate Baloyi to continue with what is of interest in this case, which is what I want to hear. There's a ruling for me to make, and time is of essence. I'm saying sit down and allow Advocate Baloyi. This is an interruption, and it is rude, if you ask me. It is a rude interruption, which is unnecessary for our purposes. You are not the only watching brief that was spoken about in this case. There's never been a watching brief here who has interrupted proceedings.
And obviously, Moloko, we expect judgment on the objection by the state's next witness to have their testimony broadcast live. I mean, have we heard heads of argument? What's happened?
Oh, yes. It started with the state advocate, Judge Baloyi, immediately after that exchange between the presiding officer and Advocate Malesela Teffo, who argued that, yes, this particular witness might be a performing artist, but away from the glitz and the glamour, she is still a witness with vulnerabilities, arguing that, look, she is a victim of crime and she must not be castigated. Essentially, he is arguing that the rights of the witness must trump the rights of the public, because he's arguing that, even questioning why, if this matter really is educational and is in the interest of justice, why only this trial? Because there are many other cases that are before various courts and there's no media attention, even questioning whether beyond the public interest, if there are other interests that perhaps the media has with regard to this. His argument really is that the witness must be allowed to testify away from the cameras. Maybe let's listen to the advocate, Judge Baloyi.
There are a lot of cases that take place on a daily basis in the lower courts, in the high court, that are not being televised. My lord, cases involving Joe and soap in far-flung areas. Why is there only a focus on cases that are of a high-profile nature?
Is it not because then there is a greater sense of public interest around the case, that there is more, there are more people interested, and I think the case in point is a perfect example. That it doesn't reside within the periphery of the family interest or even the interest of those who were around when the offense was committed. We are talking about here about a superstar who has followers both nationally and internationally across the board. And to compare those two scenarios, I doubt whether it will be the best approach.
Indeed, my lord, there is a point that you want to make in the following two instances. Firstly, are there other interests that are being pursued except for the educational value of such proceedings? And secondly, my lord, are they the only cases that have got educational value? What about a case of a poor person in a far-flung area? Isn't there educational value in such cases?
Moloko Moloto, a lot of people who have watched the Netflix series are also just arguing that same point, and the conversation continues on social media. I imagine you being in the courtroom, you would have heard other murmurs. What else can you tell us?
Well, regarding that Netflix documentary, William, it was a matter that was brought by defense lawyer advocate Zandile Mshololo, who says that this particular witness participated in that Netflix documentary. So it can't be that indeed she's intimidated by the cameras and all that. But that matter was clarified in court this morning with the defense, with the state advocate, saying that the witness has even deposed an affidavit saying that she never participated in that Netflix. However, the argument is that she has been commenting on social media about this particular trial, and the defense arguing that her argument that she fears retribution and she fears that the social media users will lampoon her and all that doesn't hold water, because she's been participating in that space already. But also the argument that she feels that her safety is threatened, the defense is arguing that she has not provided reasons to say specifically why is she saying that her life will be in jeopardy. Has there been anybody who phoned her to say that you cannot do that? Basically, they're saying the onus is on her to convince the court that her safety is compromised. Tomorrow, we are expecting the presiding officer, Judge Mewiya Maumela, according to him, to hand down judgment as to whether he will allow the media to record live the proceedings. Of course, the defense as well as the lawyer representing the media are saying, we don't necessarily want to show her face. All we want is that the audio must be heard so that we can give those who are following this case, members of the public, but also the family of the accused and the family of Senzo Meyiwa, who are not in court, to follow these proceedings. You would recall as well, William, that the witness has said that if she is compelled to testify in the presence of cameras, even if the face is not showed, she might even reconsider that decision to testify. And we heard that she is actually what is called a compellable witness. In other words, it's not up to her to choose whether she testifies or not. And the defense saying that a subpoena will have to be issued to force her to testify. The irony here is that while she does not want to be filmed when she is in the courtroom, she has no problem with the media filming her as she is in the corridors of the court. Of course, the judgment will be handed down tomorrow, and we will know as to what the way forward will. If the judgment goes against her, will she then appeal, perhaps approach the Supreme Court of Appeal or even up to the Constitutional? And if she does that, what would be the impact on this trial? Does it mean therefore that it would be delayed? We also heard from the defense arguing that the state, in the meantime, while this application perhaps is being heard, should have brought the other witnesses to continue testifying so that this particular witness can therefore come to testify later, depending on what judgment regarding her application says.